Finn, ex-Stormtrooper, Resistance hero, and one of the saviors of the galaxy. Easily one of the characters who showed up on screen and impressed the audience by not only John Boyega's performance, but also the clever and smart writing and re-examination of Stormtroopers. He is also the character in the trilogy with the most wasted potential. But I am not just talking about how his character was reduced in The Last Jedi, or completely forgotten in The Rise of Skywalker. I'm also talking about the foundational issues of where Finn's character was placed in the franchise. Whether or not you liked or disliked the sequel trilogy, you have to admit that the status quo of the galaxy at the start of the sequels is by far the least interesting route that these movies could have taken after the events of the original trilogy. A good writer would have taken the status quo of the galaxy after the events of the original trilogy. The New Republic is just starting up, the Jedi are being reformed, and Imperial remnants are trying to keep the fight alive with the little scraps that they have, which is what the Mandalorian is doing. Now, if you're going to tell the story of a clone trooper who defects from the Empire, you do not have it come after the Empire has disbanded. For one thing, the Empire is crumbling down, and based on how Finn is characterized, it would be incredibly uninteresting for him to leave the Empire at a time we're starting to disband. That storyline would only work with a character whose life and identity is defined by the Empire, which is not who Finn is. No, it would be more interesting if Finn left the Empire at the height of their power, when war is still reigning between the Rebellion and the Empire. The Empire is a very strict, authoritarian regime, so betrayal is looked especially down upon. But there's something that makes it more interesting. In the galaxy of its time, people choose to become part of the Empire, which means that Finn, of his own choice, of his own accord, chose to become a stormtrooper. And there's more. Finn, in the expanded material, is the highest ranking stormtrooper in his squad and a promising recruit. If he just leaves when several people looked up to him, that will instantly set up conflicting feelings in the people who knew him. Confusion, anger, hate. It also shows that new recruits looked up to him and potentially see him as a martyr, someone who chose to defect against the Empire because it's what he thought was right. Overall, the story potential is wasted on the version of Finn from the sequels, both in how it makes no sense for there to be an Empire 2.0 after Return of the Jedi, which ruins his foundation, and how his character was ultimately utilized. So, I'd like to pitch you a version of Finn. A story, if you will, about his tale. A story that spans from the beginning of Episode 4 to the aftermath of Episode 5. The story of how Finn, former stormtrooper, led troopers to abandon the Empire and fight for a better galaxy. This is Finn, a Star Wars story.